and welcome. You're tuning in to Unbreakable Hope with me, your host, Jessica Rose. This podcast is all about seeking the light. In each episode, we chat with someone who has either overcome the darkness or who is actively spreading light within their own community. So let's jump into today's episode. Today's special guest is Dez, and Dez does it all. She is Miss Michigan Petite. She is a therapist, and she has a beautiful organization really helping people in the mental health space. When roses bloom, we have so much in common. We have been trying to connect for weeks, and she has been patient with my voice healing from being sick. So I am so grateful that we are able to get this episode out to you, and I hope you enjoy not only that, but also my random blue tongue. So let's jump in and have fun with today's episode. Thank you so much for coming on to be my guest today.
Thank you so much for having me, Jessica. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm so excited that we were able to connect, and I can't wait to hear more of your story. So I'm going to pass it over to you and let you introduce yourself to our guests.
Thank you so much. I am Dez Durden, your current reigning Miss Michigan Petite 2025. I'm also the founder of When Roses Bloom, a mental health forum. It's actually a plethora of things now, and I'm sure we'll get into that in a little bit. But I'm also a mother, a therapist, so many different things. I wear tons of different hats, but mostly I am just a person who wants to give and spread love.
I think that's why we already have clicked so much. One, we made the comment about the rose connection, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So if you maybe let's just start there. What exactly do you do when roses bloom, or what services do you offer?
Mhm.
Let's hear more about that.
When Roses Bloom is a 24/7 mental health discussion forum, or at least that's what it started for the community. It started as a book for myself. It's a bunch of different poems, just detailing all the traumas and things that I went through throughout my life up until this point. So, When Roses Bloom was a way for me to vent publicly without embarrassing myself or making others feel like they needed to hide or that I was trying to bash them in any way. I got amazing feedback, not only from other people, but also from the personal people in my life about how good it was. And because of that, I noticed that other people needed to talk to, and they were finding me as a safe space. So people randomly started coming up to me, venting and just telling me random things about themselves. And that was happening before, of course, but in the depth now, it was just the things that they were comfortable telling me as soon as they walked up to me. I was just like, oh, you needed this just as much as I did. I'm happy that my stories make you comfortable enough to share yours too. So when those things started happening, I was like, we all need something. When Roses Bloom has to be for everybody, not just for me. So mental health discussion forum happened. It was absolutely amazing. It didn't start big. I know everyone sees it now and they're just like, wow, she's the founder of this mental health thing. It's great. It took a lot of work and I built it literally by myself. So overnight, it went from being maybe 20, 30 people to being an international thing. And when I say overnight, it genuinely took maybe 2 to 3 weeks. And I am saying that because not only do I now have the Petite organization behind me, I also have you guys, my sister queens, who are always retweeting, liking, always giving me shout outs like, hey, she's doing this thing. Make sure you pay attention. Here's the link to her forum. So when Roses Bloom actually did become for everybody. And when they started realizing it's a safe space for them, other people started using it as a resource, not only for themselves, but for the people that they care about. So it's a mental health discussion forum. It's a book. It's also a hotline. So I created a Rosebud hotline where they can physically reach out to me, phone call or text. They can also leave voicemails. It is starting to get a little bit overwhelming in a good way. And I only say that to make sure that people know that I still do try my best to respond in real time, or at least get back to as many people as possible while it is active. But that's just a way for us to communicate more personally, just so people don't feel like, oh, we're just talking to a screen or you're just responding to my comment on your forum. Sometimes it's just like, hey, have a good day. Oh, this is really Miss Des. I just wanted to see if your phone number worked. Oh, welcome to the Rosebud Hotline. It does. So it's just being able to be a safe space for other people is why When Roses Bloom was created. I needed to turn my own pain into purpose, and it worked out for everybody.
That's so amazing. And I love the parallels with the rose and just the deep meaning behind it. And you can really tell your passion for this and your authenticity through everything that you do in life. And I
Yeah.
think this is a lot. You had shared that you've overcome a lot of trauma in your life too. And I think the biggest thing when we go through things in life is finding the coping mechanisms that work for
Mhm.
us. So I'd love if maybe you could share a little bit of how you got to that point, to finding the things that really worked for you and having to muddle through all the darkness that you overcame.
It actually took lots of bumping my head. So it's always fun when you get to see the pretty picture at the end and you're just like, oh my gosh, this person turned into this amazing thing. I have been through so many different things, I mean, like, I think I've mentioned even on social media, I've been through enough heartbreak for all 8 billion of us, but that's the reason why I pour love and give love the way that I do, because I don't feel like any human should have to experience those things. So I would literally say from the sexual abuse, from homelessness, from domestic violence, there's nothing that I haven't had to navigate. Um, and most of it because I did grow up in foster care. So I am familiar with my biological family. I did try to build a bond with them. Unfortunately, this year it just didn't work out. So I decided to just cold turkey, we don't talk anymore. It works better for me knowing that I tried and I still love them, but in order for me to be this person, I need to do it at a distance from them. So I still have a family. It's just the one that I built now instead of the one that I feel I needed to earn.
Mm, that's that's pretty beautifully said. I think when it comes to the word family, I think a lot of we don't choose who we share blood with, and sometimes we put so much value in our blood
Mhm.
and for my experience, my blood has hurt me more
Mhm.
than anyone else that I've met.
Yes.
And I love that you said that, you've suffered for like all 800 billion people in this world.
Literally, my first memory of trauma happened when I was 9, and I'm now 29. And I held it in for 2 decades before I was like, okay, this is going to tear me apart. And if it does, it's going to tear my daughter apart. She doesn't deserve that. So, this is me making sure that she has the mom that she deserves. And this is me breaking all the generational curses that were put onto me, even though I don't want to, but it has to be done.
Yeah, we have to put in the work. Like, I think that we don't always have control over what happens to us, but ultimately we can play an active or inactive role in our lives. And
Yeah.
no matter what we've gone through, at
Mhm.
some point, we're just using that as an excuse. So
Yes.
we've all gone through different things in life, but you got to put in the work to overcome them, to grow. And I love that you have this connection with your daughter to say the mom that she deserves, right? You went through stuff and you said, yeah, but I have to make the sacrifices. I have to put in the sweat
Mhm.
equity to make my life better and
Absolutely.
make my daughter's life better. That's
Being her mom made me realize that it wasn't me when I was a child. It just made me realize how much easier it would have been to just give me the love that I was working so hard to earn, which is why I'm such an overachiever. Do I absolutely love my achievements? Ah, yes. It brings me joy to see the impact that everything that I'm doing is making. Does it feel good to be tired all the time? Absolutely not. But you learn to have that balance between all of the things eventually, because I do actually love doing what I do, whether it's being Miss Michigan and being able to speak about when roses bloom, or just being my daughter's mom, but also being a therapist. Like you said, we unfortunately aren't responsible for the trauma inflicted on us, but I do spend a lot of time explaining to people that you are responsible for fixing it, because the behaviors that you inflict on other people are your responsibility. And one thing that I've been learning, especially this year, is that I myself am still learning these things. I have sabotaged relationships that meant so much to me. I have tried to rebuild all of those same things because it took another person who didn't have those same issues to point them out and actually bring them to my attention, so that I knew it was actually an issue. Because most of the time you just coast through life. And if there's no one there to tell you, like, hey, I don't think that's okay. Or do you do that normally? That's not normal. Matters having people around you who care about you.
100%, especially having people who are willing to, they say, check yourself before you wreck yourself, right?
Exactly. 100%.
This makes me think of, I can't remember the show. I want to say maybe it was the Trading Spouses show or something where
I know.
it
That
was
wife swap show. Yeah, I
yes,
know
yes,
what you
yes.
mean. Yeah.
There's the one where they went into the family where the family didn't flush the toilet.
Oh,
And I just think of like how many people are like, that's not normal behavior. And I had to actually
yeah.
have this conversation when I was renting my house. I was renting it by the room.
Hmm.
I had to actually address that with somebody and was like, hey, you have to flush the toilet after you go to the bathroom. And I thought, these are conversations I never thought I'd have to have in my life.
Yeah,
But at the
that's
same
true.
time, for that person, that was their normal behavior.
Normal. Everybody's normal is different. It's literally, it's whatever your environment is. And as a behavioral therapist and all the students and people that I run into, that's one thing that I try to literally beat into people's brains. You are whatever your environment is. And whether that's a good or a bad thing, you're still picking up on all of these habits. You're still learning how to navigate. You're still picking up on whatever coping mechanisms you see being displayed in front of you.
How many people, the people you spend your most time with, you become them.
Mm-hmm.
Why people are more likely to have a job where they get paid less money if it's in an environment and they get along with their colleagues.
Yep, absolutely. It's because you're doing something you enjoy. I don't know why it works like that, but I'd rather have a job where I got paid less and enjoy doing it to where I'm just like miserable every single day.
Yeah, 100%. I've been there before where I've been in toxic work environments. I'm like, this isn't worth it. Like,
Hmm.
I don't have to work here. I have a
Yeah,
safe, I can
absolutely.
find.
That's why I work with kids and students.
Yeah.
They
And you
literally just naturally love me because I love them. It's easy.
well, and you were sharing too, you're in a very nichey group of students and being able
Mhm.
to learn from students that have different needs.
Yes, I actually work within the special education department of an entire school district. So not only do I work in autism classrooms, I just work in resource rooms in general, or I also push into regular general education classrooms in case some students need support. It can be anything from being on the spectrum to just having behavioral issues altogether. And I can say that 100%, whether you're on the spectrum or you're not, whether you have ADHD or whether you're bipolar, your behaviors or your responses to whatever is happening around you is typically trauma based
Mhm.
and learned behaviors, which is my job as a behavioral therapist, not only to help you cope through those things, but to let you know that there's other reactions to these things. So, hey, I know you don't want to do the worksheet right now because this isn't what your brain is thinking. You probably do want to draw a picture on the back of your page. I know you're upset now. You're probably going to throw your pencil across the room. You might flip your chair over. But if you get the worksheet done in 5 minutes, you can do whatever you want for the rest of class. And they're just like, oh, but their brains are wired differently. No one gave them that option for them to know that it was one. They're thinking, hey, all I have to do right now is this worksheet. She said I have to do this worksheet. And it's dreadful. It's kind of like going to a job you hate every single day with no reward.
Mhm. And I love that, like the
So,
learn traits too, is that
mhm.
I experienced this with one of my nieces. She was significantly younger. She just graduated high school. My baby.
Congratulations.
But we went to a store and she wanted something and her mom said, "No, you can't have that." And she threw herself on the floor, kicking and screaming. Now she was, I want to say 6 or 7 at the time.
Hmm.
And I stood there like, what is going on? I don't understand. So finally her mom said, "Okay, okay, okay, fine, get up, just grab it." And I was like, "Oh,
Right.
oh no." But then I also thought like, "Ooh, she's burnout."
Yeah.
And
It
now
can be
she's
so
saying,
many different things. Yeah.
yes, but now what does my niece learn? I can just,
Mhm.
if I want something, I just kick and
Yeah.
scream until someone
And
says,
it's gonna be even worse if when she finds out mom's burnt out because she's like, oh, perfect timing. I know exactly when to do it.
yes.
That's why it matters to make sure that you're also taking care of yourself too. You can't pour into other people until you pour into yourself. And that actually means your kids too. There's days where I'm like, hey, I need a break. I love my daughter. She's with me everywhere 24/7. I wouldn't have it any other way. I am human. Someone come get the child.
That is. Me
I
with my
completely
husband.
understand. There's days when I need to think. There's days when I need to process. There's days when I feel like I am too overwhelmed to be the mom that she needs. So I've learned to be mature enough to say I need help today.
Mm,
And that is one of my biggest coping mechanisms. I have to be able to register that I'm not okay and be able to tell a person that I care about that I'm not so that I can make myself accountable for taking care of myself. Because no one else is going to do it. No one else is also responsible for doing it. As much as these people love you, they also have themselves to take care of. So it's healing is a lot of inner work and doing and fixing yourself. But also, I try my hardest to not be a hypocrite. Um, I try to practice what I preach as much as I preach it. Sometimes it is a little harder given, and that's normal for whoever, but I tend to reiterate. I repeat myself a lot. I'm just gonna say that. So I'm like, Des, you got this. Des, it's okay. Like, no, Des, it's this bad moment, not a bad day. You're having a bad moment, not a bad day. Like, it's okay. I spend lots of time talking to myself, and it's so funny because my partner actually came up to me. I think it was this morning. He was like, "Are you talking to yourself again?" I was like, "I was just thinking."
words of affirmation. Big words.
Yes, exactly.
I do the same. I really had a the hardest thing for me with my husband, because he has brain cancer and cognitive,
Mhm.
is him not understanding when I'm like, Mama needs a break. That I would tell
Yes.
him like, I have to take five. And it started out where just taking five for myself in the morning with just a tea and just sitting for 5 minutes,
I
to
love
having
that.
to express that to him, saying, I just need 5 minutes. Like there was one night where, you know, Lordy bless him. So he had to go to the restroom, and I tried to
Mhm.
get him onto the commode, and it didn't work out really well. And basically
Mhm.
what happened is I got pooped on and I about
Mhm.
lost my mind. And I was like, oh my God. So I was like, I have to take five, right? I have to
Yeah.
take five. So I remember going outside, and he's devastated because he feels like I'm going to leave and I'm not going to come back. And because cognitively doesn't understand, 5 minutes to him can feel like a whole hour. So I'm
Yeah.
like, I will set a timer for 5 minutes. I
Yeah.
promise I will be back. And I remember calling my mom. My mom was like, everything okay? And I was like,
You're so
just
amazing.
got pooped on. Like I'm losing it right now.
No.
What am I going to do? Like this is one of my biggest fears.
I
Like
love
I
that
am
you have that. Oh my gosh.
terrified of pink eye. Like as crazy as that sounds, of all the things to be terrified of,
No,
I'm terrified.
seriously. Okay, this is a disgusting joke, but my brother, I have four older brothers, and they used to pass gas on my pillow intentionally. And like, I'm like, you're disgusting. And they wouldn't tell me until after I was getting in my bed. And I'm that girl who likes to wash her sheets like every week, every other week, like switch them or something. I was so disgusted in having older brothers.
I have older
So
brothers
yeah, I
too,
fear,
so
I also fear being
yeah. I'm glad I found somebody to share that with, because it's like literally like of all the things to be scared of, like
No, you're
that's like in my
genuinely
top three
so
things,
amazing.
or I'm just like, oh
It's the fact that there's so many other things that you could be complaining about that could be bothering you, and that's your only issue. Like
yeah.
you're amazing.
I was like, since
Like,
you
oh
laughed, it was
gosh.
pretty funny. The first time I ever got peed on, I we were asleep, and I thought, did I just did that just happen? Like, no, that didn't happen, right?
No, it's
And
okay.
then I was like, oh my God, that totally happened. Oh my God, what do I do? So that was one of the biggest like learning things for me, is learning incontinence care and
Hmm.
and equipment and how to do these things. And now I know like all kinds of tips and tricks. Each
Yeah.
time I was like, oh my gosh. So by the like fifth time I got peed on, I was like, oh, okay. But the first time I didn't believe it. The second time I was like, there's no way. The third time I was like, oh my God, this is my life. Oh,
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
oh, but then you're
You're
just like,
so freaking
it
amazing. Oh
just
my gosh.
happens. And then you find ways, like you said, you find ways to
You
manage and to
do.
cope,
Exactly.
because my choice, right, is ultimately, yeah, I have a choice. I could leave. I could, but that's not a choice for me.
Yes, exactly.
I
That's not the one that you choose.
yeah, I make decisions based on if my soul can rest at night, and I
Same.
cannot let him go into a facility. So I have other choices that I can make, right?
Yeah, but you make the choice that allows you peace.
Yeah.
And literally, I will choose my peace over anything any day. And that's why I'm deciding to tell all these crazy stories and have people be like, why are you saying that online? Did your mom know? She knew when she was letting it happen to me. I still love her. I'm not bashing her, but this is my life. If you don't like the story, they should have treated me better. I'm a poet now. I
Yeah,
was
that's
like, this is my artistic form. This is how I express myself. So you can either love it or don't, but I love you either way.
and I think that goes into another part about trauma, especially childhood trauma, is a lot
Mhm.
of times we don't speak up because we're still protecting the people who hurt us.
Yeah, and that was absolutely what it was for me. I always mention how I just rekindled with my biological parents 10, 11 years ago now. Um, it's been a rough decade. A lot of amazing things have happened. I have grown into this amazing woman. I've hit so many different heights that I never thought I would be able to hit. However, now that I'm here and I did go no contact with my family, or at least the part of the family that I felt wasn't good for me,
Mm.
peace is undeniable. And it's bittersweet because I have moments where I'm like, dang, I really do want to call you. Or like, oh, how are you doing today? But I'm like, if I let that energy back in, it'll just all go back to being what it used to be. So for me, it's also just a lot of being able to literally stand on business and like trust myself with whatever decisions that I'm making when it comes to my peace and my soul and how I sleep at night. So I completely understand.
And that's another, I'd say that that is probably the healthiest way to cope.
Hmm.
But the hardest is boundaries,
It
especially when
is.
it's boundaries for other people. Because I think what we forget is it's not just a boundary we're setting with someone else. We
Yeah.
have to hold that boundary. And I think when I talk to my friends, I compare it to laundry, and it's like sounds super simple, right? So I'm like, okay, if I do my laundry, our laundry room's upstairs. So I'm like, if I wash it and I dry it, if I don't fold it upstairs and it gets downstairs, oh, game over. That's not getting folded. It's gonna
Same.
end up staying in a
I have a
basket.
pile of clothes sitting next to me for everybody who thinks I always give queen energy. I promise I'm human.
I love it. But that's what it is. Like, right? If we don't, we're setting rules, and if we can't hold the boundary we're setting, other people aren't going to be able to hold it either. So I think that's everything I've seen. Like the best thing to do is boundaries, but the hardest thing to do.
Yeah. And another thing with boundaries is what I learned is that if somebody you love is giving you boundaries and you don't respect them, they genuinely just don't respect you and they like the pushover or the yes man that you were. It was more beneficial to them for you to be this person instead of you being the person that you need to be for yourself. So those are the people that you just happily remove. I still care about you, but I know now that in order for me to thrive, I have to do this without you.
Yep. I have a few people in my life who I don't I don't let call me. That's one of the boundaries where I'm like, you know what? I'm a talkaholic. I know that. I tell
Hmm.
people all the time. If I'm ever on the phone and somebody's like, "Hey, so I just pulled up or I got to go," I'm like, "Okay, bye." I don't.
Yeah.
You're somewhere you got to go. We've already talked. I don't need to
Hmm.
take another 2, 3 minutes to say goodbye. I'll catch you next time, right? Like, as a talkaholic, I see that. I recognize that.
Yeah.
Other people who I've had call me and I'm like, you have no awareness of yourself, awareness of other people, awareness of time. Like, I cannot get on the phone with you.
Hmm.
You are going to take everything that I have, both my time, my energy, and you're not.
And it's so draining to always have to fix it.
Hmm.
And like, have you noticed that in those conversations, they never ask you how you're doing or how's your day or what are you doing today? It's
Yeah.
literally just you answering the phone and being dumped on.
Hmm.
And I'm just like, I love you, but not today.
Yeah.
Yes, it's so insane.
I've also seen the reverse too, is there's people in my life where, because I think as humans, majority of us are more likely to trauma compare or think, oh, they have it worse than me. Now, I think there's a
Hmm.
small
It's
population
always,
that it goes the other direction, right?
mhm.
My life is clearly worse than yours. I should get
Yeah.
things, right? But I definitely have some friends who like they see from the outside my life and everything
Hmm.
going on. And yeah, I've called and I've had to talk through very difficult situations sometimes, but then I feel like a lot of times they don't really share or they
Hmm.
mask what's going on in their life because they think, well, what I have going on isn't as bad as
Yes.
But for
And,
me, it's isolating because I'm like,
hmm
just tell me you're
It
having a shit
is.
day.
And we can have a bad day together. That's what friends are for. Maybe we'll figure out how to make it a better day. Like
Yes.
seriously. No, I completely understand that. I've actually been in situations to where people do try to like compare trauma and they're like, "Oh, yeah, that's bad." But like, what about me? And I'm like, I literally have been in situations to where it's like it doesn't matter what you say, I can top it. But the thing is, I don't want to. I don't want to be the person to say, "Oh, this was worse than what you went through." I don't want to be the person to tell you that my life was very tragic and now I'm healing. I want to be the person that says, "I'm so sorry that you can relate to this." Like, what did you do? Because you're cool now. Like, you seem fine. Was there a coping skill that you learned that I don't have? Like, I want to talk about the healthy things, not the things that kept us down, if that
Yeah,
makes sense.
100%.
Yeah, so I won't say that it's weird to me. It's more so I've learned that all people hold trauma differently. Some compartmentalize, some don't talk about it at all. Some pretend that it doesn't like it didn't happen. Um, a lot of the times people just don't have anybody to talk to about it, or they don't know how to navigate even finding the words to say how they feel because they've never had that space to do so. Which is why I made it very apparent to be as vulnerable as I am. They're like, "Oh, you're saying these things online. That's crazy." Like, one person even DM'd me and was like, "You're way too pretty to be talking about these things." What does my face have to do with my trauma? I love you. Thank you for paying attention to my stories. But pretty privilege never put me in a safe predicament or anything. My brain put me everywhere that I am today. So I was just like, I appreciate the halfway compliment. I get what you mean. I know that you didn't mean to be disrespectful, but this is all intentional. I want you to know that I did have to go through sexual abuse as a kid. I do want people to know that my mom did choose her marriage over her own kid. Do I still love my mom now? Absolutely. I do want people to know that because of all those things, as soon as I graduated high school, I was sleeping in my car until I had to figure out how to get my own apartment. No one taught me those things. I didn't have a parents. So this is everything that they see now, Miss Dez, Miss Michigan Petite, mom. That's after all of the things that I went through that everybody pretends didn't happen because they think I'm so pretty.
Only if only, right?
Yeah.
That trauma discriminate.
I seriously,
Yeah.
I was like, I genuinely just choose to give love because no one should experience those things. And if I can stop it, whether it's already happened or not, if I can stop it from continuing, if I can stop it from even happening in the first place, I will. There's no if, I'm stopping it. I've physically, literally, I'm a behavioral therapist, so a lot of my kids are physically aggressive sometimes. But I've literally put myself in harm's way to make sure that my students and people around me are safe. And I will continue to do so, especially knowing that I can combat it or also come out safe. But I'm just that person. I spent my entire life saying I'm not a people person because people weren't peoply to me. And I didn't know what a people person was. I was like, people are just people. Now I'm a people person. I love you. I love you. It's like Oprah. You get a car, you get a car, check under your chair. It's
I
like if
feel
I
the
have
same
nothing
way.
to give, know that I love you. Like
Yeah.
seriously.
I'm definitely that person too. Like if you can be the light for other people,
Hmm.
because we've all gone through some form of darkness, right? Like trauma doesn't discriminate. Trauma just likes to
No,
hit all of us in different ways,
well,
baby. And like
trauma
you
does not
said,
discriminate, and everybody holds trauma different. So it doesn't matter if it's huge to you and not significant to them. It still feels something. Like it feels some way. There's an emotion behind it, and you have to feel it.
and sometimes when you go through really difficult things, other things that someone may see as difficult isn't. But
Mhm.
at the same time, you may go through a lot of difficult things, and then something that seems super simple is the thing that completely throws you off.
And that's what it is for me. And I even noticed that with my partner, like a lot. A lot of the times I can handle all of the complex things. It's like, oh, I literally am Miss Michigan, a therapist. Like I have session notes and meetings and like podcasts and all these things. And I'm like ripping through it, going crazy. And I'm like, I think I left the food in the oven. And like I burnt the chicken or like I don't
Yeah.
It's the little things. Or I'm always over analyzing things. So we'll be in the car and I had a problem with letting him lead for a long time. So I was always trying to control things and like the GPS, for example, the GPS would be on. He'd go off the exit or something. I'm like, that's not your exit. I'm getting gas. Mind your business. Oh, you're right. I'm not even driving. Why am I even telling you what to do?
I think
So
that's a big
sometimes it
thing.
is okay to sit back and be quiet and relax. Like you don't have to do everything.
And for me, reliability is one of my biggest triggers, right? So
Mhm.
if I feel like I can't rely on somebody or if they've let me down, especially if they've let me down multiple times, it gets really hard to want to trust that person with
Absolutely.
anything. And then I'm like, it gets me back to, well, that's why I just do it all myself. And then when people are like, oh, reach out if you need anything, I'm like,
Hmm. I
okay.
did. It didn't go
Yeah,
out.
especially when
Yeah,
it
I
is the
don't do
person who's let
that.
me down. I'm like, I've reached out to you before and you clearly cannot handle the thing
Yeah.
I was
I've
hoping.
actually started telling them that. And it's just I of course try not to be rude about it, but when people do that, I'm just like, well, I did. And like last time I did, this is what happened. It didn't turn out the way I needed it to, or like the way that I needed help. Not saying that you didn't try to, it just didn't work out for me. That's all.
Yeah. And that's a good way to put it too, is because our expectations are all different, right? So when we go into
Hmm.
something, we have a set of expectations, and we as humans don't often speak said expectations. And then something
Right.
happens outside our expectations, and then we don't say anything, but we're mad about it. And the other person does.
Literally crushes our soul, but it alters the way that we treat people around us. It alters the way we go about our day, how we're handling, how we run errands. I can literally go from having a full list of things to do, but I'll compartmentalize or hold something in that just happened. And I'm like, I'm not doing nothing today.
Mhm.
I'm like, well, that's the definition of you ruining a whole day because you had a bad moment.
Yeah. Yeah. And just that getting completely derailed. I
Mhm.
actually one of the things that I did going through my big journey before I knew I needed it was rewording things because language is so powerful in so many different aspects.
Absolutely.
Like we are talking about like talking to yourself, that affirmation
Yeah,
piece.
affirmations for sure.
I try not to say bad day. I just say, well, that was weird, or I'm having a weird morning, or it's just off.
Oh,
It's
I
right
love
now.
that. Oh, I'm gonna take
Yeah.
so many brownie points. That's
Oh, yeah.
amazing.
It really changed how I store things and my gratitude
Mhm.
practice. That's why one of my journals I titled it Train Your Brain because that's what I did. So it got to where in my day I wasn't focusing on the bad because I was only
Mhm.
recalling the light. I was giving the light the energy. And I remember there was one day I had all kinds of weird stuff happen. I mean, like my tea bag had slit. I had gotten my Starbucks tea. I was on my way to the airport. My husband was staying in a facility for this work trip. We are testing it out, and I go to see him, and my tea bag is like slit open, and I got a whole mouthful of tea leaves.
Oh
I didn't
my
notice
God.
till I was already gone. I'm like,
Always
okay,
the little things like that.
yes. And then it was I whatever I got at lunch spilt on my cream colored skirt because yes, I still dress up when I travel. And then I my unsliceable pantyhose, whatever,
Mhm.
that I'd had for a couple years. Seriously,
Slides.
nothing ever happened. Holes in both of them by the time. And I was like, what? So the next morning, I'm feeling great. I went to bed feeling great. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to do a video about this. And as
Hmm.
I was thinking back the next morning of all the weird things that happened, I instantly felt like 20 pounds heavier. And I felt my whole body was like shrinking. And I thought, my heart feels faster. I'm like, oh my gosh, just even thinking about this, I completely changed how my body is feeling. And I was like,
Yeah.
nope, abandon ship. So then I just did a quick little video on how that I'm not even going to finish this one because I could already tell the change of me giving thought to the negative or the what
Hmm.
happened the day before.
It
It's crazy
does.
how powerful our minds are.
Seriously, and the more you feed the negative energy, the more negative things become. Oh my gosh, I've learned that being around more spiritual people, just people more aligned with themselves. Like, I was just like, okay. So that's where all of my affirmations come from and being more intentional. And I love that you say you change your wording because that's kind of how I deal with life and like people around me. Specifically, like my parents and being separated from my siblings. I'm always like, well, I do love my parents. They are still human. Ultimately, they were never given the tools to succeed or to break the generational curses. Did they try? Probably. Did it feel like that to me? No. Ultimately, I love you. I'm not going to hold the grudge anymore, though. So I just changing the perspective. Like you tried, it didn't work out because you didn't have the tools that you needed. I still love you. You might still love me. Do I need that to thrive now? No. But that's because I'm now presented with more knowledge than what I had before.
Yeah, I have someone in my life that I always say like give yourself grace. And my friends are like, yeah, like I give others more benefit of the
Hmm.
doubt, or I give them more grace than I give myself.
Right.
But there's someone in my life that wants to call and complain about this other person, and I'm like, you know, like throttle back a little bit and remember this other person's been through a lot too. And we're
Hmm.
all humans, we're all growing, we're developing. So you can't hold, like you just said, holding that grudge for something that happened.
Yeah.
It still happened.
Hmm.
Your feelings, your emotions, your trauma happened. It's not saying it didn't happen, but it's also
Right.
saying that, the other person, they have their role and
Hmm.
where they got to where they're at, but they also have the ownership and responsibility for their actions or their
Right.
lack of actions when it comes time to putting in the sweat equity and healing yourself.
Hmm. Absolutely. Oh my gosh. So it's a two-person thing.
Yeah.
But mostly healing is never linear. It never will be. It's
Yep.
never been easy. There's literally days where I'm just like, I don't want to be Miss Michigan, a therapist or mom.
I feel that when it
Like
comes
I don't want
to
to get dressed or take a shower. I don't feel like doing anything. But then there's days where I'm like, I got everything. I'm hitting the world full force, running. We got this. I'm bringing my daughter with me, little Miss Michigan. We got it just depends on the day.
yeah,
But I can say the more that I surround myself with people who are more aligned with themselves or who do care about how they sleep at night and stuff like that, the easier and more peaceful I feel within myself.
yeah.
Yeah. So as much as all the things that I'm healing from or have healed from still do tend to get brought up or still literally smack me in the face. So for example, the other day, and this is actually the first time I'm going to mention this. I haven't even told my family that it happened yet because I was kind of just going to let it go. But now that I think about it, I am talking about my trauma and my mother and stuff like that. So, my first traumatic experience happened when I was 9. Unfortunately, I was sexually assaulted by my mom's husband at the time. And that is what I mean when I say she decided to choose her image and her marriage over me. I did go live with someone else, have to do the whole thing, was separated from my siblings who still grew up with our mother. Fast forward to today, I'm 29. I'm now Miss Michigan. I have this whole mental health platform. Nothing ever happened to said husband. Unfortunately, he ended up getting married. He has kids now. Um, I'll leave that part at that. But I had someone reach out to me on social media and say, "Hey, do you remember me from when you were a kid or from when you were younger?" And I tell every single person the same thing. I don't remember anything from my childhood. I spent most of it surviving. So if we didn't have a really great moment or like a super significant moment or we weren't like super tight, I don't know. And I always apologize. That's not me being disrespectful or trying to be,
Hmm.
I guess not humble. I genuinely mentally it's just not there. Um so they ended up telling me like, "Oh, I'm this person's uncle." And I was like, "Oh, I just never responded. I just left it there. Because first of all, I haven't talked to anyone, not the man, not his family. I don't even talk to my own parents. So it's almost like people feel this entitlement now to reach out to me or to tell people that they know me because of all of the good things that I'm doing now. Um, but once they realize that I am literally the person who saved you from having a not so great life because I was too scared to ruin it because I wanted the love you wouldn't give or was giving in the wrong way. Um, so I didn't respond, but that's what I mean when I say healing isn't linear. Trauma is going to reappear, and if you aren't doing the work within yourself, it could be so different. My response could have been different. I wanted to call him. I wanted to call my mom. I wanted to literally cuss my mom out. Why do these people still think this is okay? Oh, because you never told them what happened because you didn't want them to know. So it's just little things like that. Now I'm very much okay being 29 years old saying this thing happened to me. I absolutely love my mom. So no, you guys don't have to go find her on social media and bash her. She tried. She tried. It just didn't work. I also explained to people that she also went through some of the same traumas. So those are just generational curses that she wasn't able to break. And I was the first girl in my entire generation. So not only was it probably triggering for her, she just didn't know how to handle it. And that's okay. Everybody has their own niche.
And that comes from a lot of healing and growth within yourself too. Because I do like the same thing. Like I don't blame the people that were involved in my trauma. Because I just
Mhm.
think back, I'm like, you know what? They had their part, they had their role, they had their lives and what they were going through.
Yeah.
They too have to heal from what happened. They too have to put in the work. And
And it's you
I could
can't play the blame game anymore. So it's not like, oh, you're the reason why I can't keep a relationship, or oh, it's your smart mouth, or no, it's me speaking up because I care about my mother. It's because I'm watching you go through things that I feel like aren't normal, but it's normal now because this was my entire childhood. So now I'm trauma bonding with people and not knowing until it's too late. And I'm healing from something else I just put myself through. So you it's a chain reaction that literally has to be broken or it's not fun. It's literally there's no peace in trauma by any means.
Yeah. And if we leave things in the dark, that's where they'll grow and they'll fester. But if we pull them out into the light, I'm a firm believer. You make the topic taboo, it is taboo. But if you talk about it, you remove the taboo and you bring it to the light.
Yes.
And that's where growth, true growth
Yes.
can happen.
How I explain it to my elementary school kids. Only mold grows in dark, cold, moist places.
Mhm.
In the sunlight, flowers grow, trees grow, grass blooms, butterflies come out, the bees pollinate the flowers. Everything good happens when the sun comes out. So please stop hiding. Like, seriously, we don't hide anymore. We're not asking for permission to heal. We're not doing any of those things.
That's beautiful. That's so beautiful. I love that analogy so much. I could literally see it as you said it.
Yeah, everyone knows what mold is. So I'm like,
I was
they're
like,
always like, ew, Miss Des, how would you say that? Okay, wait a second. It gets cute, especially my girls. It's so funny.
oh, I love that so much. Oh, I know that we're going to be competing soon and we're in two different
Mhm.
divisions. So I do want to give a little bit of a time with that. Obviously, well,
Yes.
I say obviously, like your platform is your life's work. I think a lot of
Mhm.
people misunderstand that with pageants is that people are
Absolutely.
already doing amazing, good things in their community. The
Mhm.
pageant is just a way for them to be able to sell the amazing, beautiful work that they're already doing.
Yes.
But yeah, if you want to talk a little bit about what you're excited about most, we're going to
Yes.
be in Chicago.
My favorite thing about pageantry, seriously, is that the dressing room always feels like, I don't know, the bathroom at high school prom or something. And I only went to one, so I only had that one experience. But like, it was amazing. Everyone's in there fixing each other's hair. Some girl was actually playing her own music on top of the other music. We were all just vibing. It's the sisterhood behind everything. It's sisters that you didn't know you were gonna make, sisters that you wish you had, big sisters, little sisters. It's genuinely just amazing. It's also another reason to just dress up, have fun, and also support each other. We're all coming from different states, different places. This is a national thing. It's way bigger than what people think it is. And as much as people think pageantry is just about vanity, none of us are doing it because we get to look cute and wear a crown. We genuinely care about each other and our platforms. Somebody's going to get that crown, and someone's platform is going to have the ability to be expanded so that they can reach more people or so that they can keep doing whatever work they're doing. It doesn't have anything to do with being cute. We love it. But in reality, I'm pretty sure the whole vanity aspect of pageantry is just so people will actually listen to what I'm saying.
I was talking to a friend about this.
Like,
It was on a
seriously.
dating app where she felt really bad because she said, "Oh my gosh, I feel so judgmental." I look at a
Mhm.
picture, I'm kind of like, "Man," I'm like, this is the analogy for pageantry, right? Is you have to be able to capture someone's attention for what
Yeah.
you're doing on the inside and who you are on the inside by
Hmm.
a picture or how you present yourself. And
Yeah.
yeah, I loved what you said because that's 100% how I feel. It's like
It's literally just being undeniably beautiful, but like disgustingly intelligent. Like, I don't know how else to put it. There's not one queen that we're reigning with in any division who's not like, wow, she's amazing. wow, she's amazing. Do you see her? What is she doing? It's so cool. And then pageantry is just another way for you to gain resources you didn't even know you needed. So I've also had some of our sister queens join my platform. I've joined some of the other sister queens and collabing and making sure that we can talk about our platform. So it's just so many different things with pageantry. I went from being like, oh, that's not for me to, well, I'm Miss Michigan, guys. Hi. Hello.
It's definitely
I
a
love it.
beautiful networking. I think of
Hmm.
it like with anything. I joined a sorority, so I was in the Marine Corps. I grew up with old brothers. I'm really easy at making guy friends. And I thought, well, I want to be able to make female friends, so I paid for them and I joined a sorority. And
Yeah,
no
literally.
shame, like yeah, literally. So I think of it, it's kind of the same thing. Like we do so many other things. There's so many other competitions. I like
Hmm.
I do a lot of running competitions and I'm an adaptive sports coach. So there's the sports
Oh, that's
competitions,
amazing.
but this is another type of competition, and it's a competition
Hmm.
that you're investing in yourself, but you're also networking, and it's a place that you're going to find other amazing women doing
Yes.
amazing work. And so many of you have beautiful stories and how much you've had to overcome in life just to get to where you
Hmm.
are. Like one of the lovely women, she competed in her first pageant when she was homeless, and I'm still like in my mind, like
Wow.
I
Yeah,
think of
I
that, and
know. So,
it's
oh my God, and that's so crazy. Oh, that's another thing too. The only reason why I was able to make it through my reign, or the only reason why I'm making it to Chicago next week, is because of my community, because of you guys supporting me, because of like being a part of the Petite organization and people now knowing what my platform is and who I am. I did go through the phase of almost losing my apartment. I did lose my contract early in March when the whole DEI budget thing happened. I don't actually get to go back to work until August full time with my students when school starts. So I was just like, okay, my entry fee, my wardrobe is stolen. Now my crown and sash didn't show up. Am I gonna be able to pay my rent next month? So like life happens to you, but ultimately for me, it's the universe will give me back whatever I'm putting out into it. And right now, I am choosing to use everything that I have to bet on myself. And that's it. And it's not about bringing the crown home. It's about proving to myself and everybody around me that you can do it. It doesn't matter what you had to go through. It doesn't matter who has you, what support you have, or what you don't. If people want to see you make it, you will.
yeah.
And I think about that daily. I was like, oh my gosh, because of all of the things that I've done, or because of the platform that I have, and because of the name that I've made for myself and being in a safe space for people, they refused to let me step down as Miss Michigan.
Aw.
Every single time I came on social media with a problem, handled mostly by people I'd never even met. I don't know them. It's just people who, and I'm just like, thank you for believing in me. Like I spend most of my days crying. I tell people that all the time, happy tears. But it's all because of the support. And I mention often, I don't come from a traditional family. I built it and I absolutely love it. So that's why I'm so big on, oh, you're my rosebuds. Like these are my rosebuds because you had to grow from somewhere. I planted all the seeds and now they're blooming right in front of me. So it doesn't matter what happens as far as negative things. I am still being a resource to people. I did make such an impact that our governor was like, hey, lady, I see you. And I was like, having a panic attack on my floor. I was like, she spelled my name right. She knows my address. It was so funny. So that's the reward for me ultimately. Just having people say, I see the work that you're doing and it's helping. And that's it. I'll take it any day over anything else, over the vanity, over the finances, over whatever. If people can say, hey, that's Miss Des, this is what she did for me today. Or this Miss Des, I'm here because of her. I love you because I'm literally here because of you too. I think that's it.
I think that's so great and just a testament to, like we said, is our platforms are just, it's the passions that we're already working on in life and just an opportunity to
Mhm.
grow that and more seeds for you to plant and
Yeah.
people to be able to see these blooms and want to invest in themselves and other people and just having a community of support because it does. It's those little messages, I myself included, where someone will like my message or say, man, I love going to your stories because you're always posting something that I know is going to cheer me up for the day. And
You're so uplifting. It's amazing.
so it's so nice to be like, it's like that reassurance that like Yes, because I'm a firm believer in the if there's one, like the starfish story,
Mhm.
right? Where the kid's throwing the starfish in the ocean, and the old man tells him, "You're never going to be able to get them all." And the kid says, "You know what? It matters that one." So
Mhm.
that's something that I feel like when you have that personal connection, like you have too, is like you're growing this garden, and each seed and each row is
Yeah,
important, and you're investing in
exactly.
that, and then being able to get people to say, "Hey, you invested in me. I want to show some investment in you, even if it's."
And that's what it is for me. So I always tell people I'm changing the world. And if it doesn't happen before I get to see it happen before my eyes, whoever I planted those seeds in will do it for me. And I will spiritually somehow make sure that they succeed.
Oh, I love it. Well, I know we've covered so much really good content,
Mhm.
but I want to make sure if there's something that we missed or if you have some final thoughts that you want to leave our listeners with today.
Absolutely. I have said this once already, but I say it all day long. We are no longer asking for permission to heal. It's okay to love yourself out loud. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to tell people when you need help. It's not embarrassing. Though there will be those few people who are like, "Oh, you shouldn't be doing that." Also tell them they need help too, respectfully. It's okay. But no, you're loved, you're seen, you are very worthy of everything and every part of your being. That's all.
Ugh, I, I love how it's like that's all, but I'm like that is so
Just think
powerful, and I
that's
hope
all.
that our listeners have
Yeah.
gotten great joy and learned some nuggets throughout our conversation. So again, I appreciate you so much. I can't wait to see you in Chicago. It'll be here before we know it.
It's 10 days. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to see you.
Oh, yes, 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 yes. It'll come up so fast. So thank you again. I appreciate you. And here's to celebrating all the work that we've done and the work that we'll continue to do
Yes,
round and on.
absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Jessica Rose. You're such a beautiful woman. I appreciate your time so much.
Thank you, listeners, for tuning in. If you found this episode inspiring, please share it with someone you never know who needs more light in their life. May this serve as a reminder that there's always darkness in the world. Do not let it consume you. Always seek the light. Please take a moment to do the good old subscribe, rate, and review. Your support means so much to me, and it helps me spread more light and love. Until next time, be kind, be loving, be human, and don't ever let anyone steal your hope.